what it is you're looking at?
No, you tell us if you like.
Okay, so this is erected in the woods from a standing start. Never having done this before, this took us so far about 15 minutes. It is raining. It's actually raining surprisingly heavily. Remember, in the woods, sometimes you barely notice it when it's raining, but actually you can hear the pitter-patter on the roof of this thing quite clearly. If you take a look at the interior of the empty bag, or at the top of this flight case, in here, as you'd expect, we're currently bone dry. Question, how long will we stay bone dry for? Obviously what I'm concerned with here is to make sure that I can fit a double bait under here.
Yeah.
So, the gigging gazebo, we've been working on this for quite a long time now, over an hour, because we've been working out how to do it as we went along.
Drops of water, but it's waterproof.
It's had the thick end of an hour for any rain to come through. Damn it, a house brick does not fit inside. That's a bloody nuisance.
Bricks somewhere.
If we can get hold of some original Tudor bricks from the 16th century, or even better, the 15th century, they would be a good fit.
This damn thing is not modern, it's Tudor.
Tudor beaten.
Tudor beaten. Right, we have added the PA speakers and you are working on the PA.
I'm setting up the PA. It's absolutely maxed out. Pub beer garden you ever heard. I take this down a bit now. Okay, I've just walked right around the wood. On average, I've been 50 yards away from the music, and that's plenty. I had it whacked up to full volume. I've now taken it right down to a much lower level. Your average pub garden is going to stretch maybe as far as that fallen tree over there.
Watch it!
So obviously there's trip hazards that we need to be aware of here. For intercept music, that level is fine, and if we need to, we can go a lot louder. I'm on around the corner, have a drink, get angry. Lose the vodka, baby, and do like I say. I said ditch the vodka, baby, and do just like I say. We'll go around the corner, have a drink, get angry. time is now 5 to 2. We started working on putting this thing together at about 1:45. So without ever having done any of this stuff before, we managed to get it up satisfactorily with a PA in there, fully functional. Sorry about this, I forgot to bring the right XLR cables with me. So we've got a condenser mic out front, which is powered by the phantom power from the little PA unit, so that's absolutely fine. This is all the small, lightweight kit that we can use for low volume outdoor gigs. Condenser mic out front, pick up the whole band, or alternatively individual dynamic mics, as you'd normally do for an indoor gig. For an acoustic setup, you'd have singer guitar player here. I'll be on double bass over here. There's plenty of room for a drummer back here, as long as he's at least vaguely sensible about his setup. And even if this was a 4-piece band, so a 3-piece with a singer, that's still perfectly doable. Notice how far back the microphone is. That's because this cable, which isn't supposed to be used like this, is so short. If the mic was where you'd expect it to be, which is far more in that sort of position, you've then got room for bass player, guitarist, drummer. If necessary, you can set up with the drummer in that corner, facing more or less diagonally, in which case you've got plenty of room for bass player here, guitarist here. Have you checked out the protection for the power supply? So that we set up this whole thing in the middle of, not a rainstorm, but it was definitely raining, and this is 240 volts coming off the generator. So we've got 2 of these reels, each of them are off the ground and then sheltered by a plastic bucket. So if there was to be a sudden downpour, there's no reason to expect things to suddenly start catching fire. Water is still on the outside of the gazebo from the rain that we had that finished at least 45 minutes ago. It's had lots of time to soak through if it wants to. Not says you notice. So that's pretty good. Seeing water flying?
Yes, lots of it. Rather spectacular, I must say.
Sorry? The next thing we need to do is time how long it takes to take all this lot down. So it's now just coming up 2 o'clock. If you stop filming now, we'll start filming again when we're finished, and we'll tell you how we got on.
Okay.
As you can see, it's very close to the vehicles, and it's about 50 yards away from the generator. The time is now 2:35, so that took 35 minutes for just Sylvia and me to clear everything away from a standing start, never having done this before in quite this sort of a way. Realistically, we'll probably shave 5 minutes off that. So if we're working solo at a gig and the gig's over, if we're using that little PA there, then ignoring my double bass and such like, we're looking at roughly half an hour to break down, which is actually not bad at all.